I say we saved the best to last, but.
Wait, is somebody behind me?
No, you are it. This is Michael Bigner, and he is the general manager of about, I don't know, a zillion radio stations. The old Kosher network.
Yep.
So it's like WJMC, WAQ, Fox, a lot of them.
Sports talk, news talk, we got a few.
And I was lucky enough to work with Mike back when he was not the general manager. He was the DJ. Yeah. So anyway, and he is my #1 guy to go to if I have a marketing question. I believe your degree is in marketing as well.
It is.
But he always has all these creative ways that we can, you know, you'd think he would be trying to sell me radio advertising, which he does a good job of. But he also comes up with ideas of other types of marketing that we could do that would be really cost effective. So I asked him to talk about marketing on a shoestring budget, because that's pretty much what all of us have to work with. So anyway.
Thank you. Just to give you a little background information, my name is Mike Bigner. I am the general manager for the 5 radio stations. We do digital. We make OTT, CTV, which are the streaming TV commercials you see. We do just about everything when it comes to media. So as we looked at this, and I talked to Tammy, and I've worked with Tammy for years now, the most important thing for our group is communities and people like you, because you really are the gems of our community, which is why our motto used to be the Tom Koza Radio Network. Always believe we got to do whatever we can to make sure we promote this gem the way it should be properly promoted. So when she asked me to do this talk, you know, I know a lot of us out there, we got $1 million budgets, right? We can always spend a lot more money just to advertise, because that's what the end goal is. How many people can we get? So I love the Pioneer Village, been one of my favorite things. All 3 of my kids have gone through here and have loved it. And so it's got a special place in my heart. But when you talk about advertising, there's 3 rules for any advertising. How many people can I reach? How often can I reach that same person with what message? That's the way we advertise with everything we do in the radio station. So what I wanted to do was come up with ways that we can get advertising for nonprofits, people like you, who are looking for a way to get your message out there. Because remember, it's how many people can I reach? How often can I reach that same person with what message? Now the reason I say how many people can I reach and don't leave it there is that every day we are hit with over 5,000 advertisements. T-shirts we're wearing, to hats we're wearing, to billboards. Everywhere you look, on average, you are hit with 5,000 of those every single day. So that's why that second thing comes in very, very important. How many people can I reach? How often can I reach them with what message? So the #1 thing that I think that when we look at this, how do we advertise? Google needs to be your best friend. I say that, and I say it confidently. Do you own your Google business profile? If you don't, you need to. This is the #1 way for you to get your message out there. It doesn't cost you a dime. So when most people search for events near me, or festivals, or museums near me, Google looks at them. And so if you've got your Google business profile and you've got control of it, you're able to increase the searches, your chances of your searches being there when people do things like that. So when you do your Google business profile and you do it properly, it increases your chances of being found by 35 to 42%, which is very big. So what we're saying about this is basically what you want you to do is claim your business profile, make sure you have ownership of it. And the reason you want to do that is you want to make sure, #1, contact information is correct. Hours of operation are correct. You also have the information on how do you get there, which is basically what you do is put in your address. Google Maps will figure it out. So how many of us out there have actually, searched for burgers near me, and then you see a 3-pack come? It's a map, and then you got 3 choices right here. This is what your Google business profile does. It allows you to get into that map when people are searching for what you do, okay? And so the other thing that you want to do is make sure, A, contact information is correct, phone number, address, times of operation, very, very important. Google takes it very, very important when they're looking at stacking you for searches. So if your information is incorrect, Google knows about this because they do crawl websites about every 30 days. And if it's not correct, they're going to look at you and go, well, that's not a reputable website, or that's not a reputable Google business profile. So we're going to push you to the bottom. So that's very important. It sounds like a little thing, but make sure contact, times of operation, and your address is correct. Second thing, load lots of pictures in your Google business profile. I would be doing this once a month at least, and you want to take pictures of your events. You want to take pictures of the things that you've got set up, of festivals and events that you're doing, pictures of smiling kids, because again, Google looks at this and goes, okay, this person's paying attention to their Google business profile, so we're going to push you up their search engine, and you get found faster.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Does it count the same if other people upload it? Most of our pictures are from visitors.
Not really, because I mean, really and truly, if you have control of your Google business profile, you're the only one. You should be uploading pictures to that profile.
Seriously? We have pictures.
Really?
We don't hardly ever.
Okay, that's something I would check.
That's okay or not?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. It's kind of like, so when you look at a Google business profile and it shows you the star rating, which is 0 to 5. Most people, if you have a rating of less than 4.5, won't even bother with you. That's how important that rating system is. So you always want to make sure, A, that you're answering all Google business replies. When somebody posts something on your Google business profile, even if it's good, hey, thanks a lot, we appreciate it. If it's bad, it's okay too. You just try to explain it the best way you can, and Google looks at that and goes, okay, we know that there are a lot of keyboard warriors out there who like to make big deals out of nothing. So it actually won't kick you down. Yes, ma'am?
How do you get your Google profile?
I've got a handout that I'll give to Tammy because I apparently did not make enough copies. This gives you step-by-step instructions on how you get a hold of it, what you need to do.
Oh, okay.
But at the bottom of the profile, it will ask you a question, is this your business profile? You click on that button and fill it out, and then Google will get back to you. Yes, ma'am?
I hope this isn't a stupid question, but we have at Fort Fulton and Webster a website, and we have the Google where people will come to visit based on what time, whatever.
Yep, Google business profile.
So there are old things out there that are incorrect information. So last summer I had a woman that showed up on a day we're not open, and she was pretty upset because she'd driven a long distance to come. But the internet said we were open.
Right.
How do we get rid of those old ones?
So again, you have to claim control of your Google business profile. And so once you claim control, this is why it's times that you're open, contact information, the address, that's very, very important. And Google looks at that. So once you, what I would do is try and get a hold of, claim your Google business profile. It's the first thing you really should do more than anything else.
Thank you.
And make sure that information is correct. Okay. The next thing I would do, and a lot of people don't realize this, you can actually apply for Google Ads. So Google Ads is, if you've ever been on a website, you've seen the ads on the top, the sides, the bottom, and the middle. Those are called Google Ads. Google allows 501c3s to actually get free advertising. It's a grant that they offer. And basically all you'd have to do is Google the grant for Google Ads. It's $10,000. Now, it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of ads. So when you're looking at $10,000 worth of ads, you're looking at probably somewhere in the range of, I'd say, 1/4 to 500,000 ads are what they call impressions. Now, that is not the same thing as a newspaper, and that's not the same thing as a radio commercial or TV commercial. Impressions are just as my ad has just shown up in front of somebody, it hasn't taken any action. And how many of us have looked at all those ads that are all over the web pages? That's an impression. That's why they're 20 times what you would normally do when you do traditional advertising, which is newspaper, radio, television, billboards, those kind of things. Next thing I would do is social media. How many of us out there have control of our Facebook page? If If you don't, you should. So when you are first thing you want to do when you have social media is build your following. People who follow you, people who share you, people who like you. That's your end goal on your social media. So how do I get people to follow me? How do I get people to like and share what they're seeing on my Facebook page? Because every time you do that, it shows up on their page, it shows up on their friend's page. It's a, never-ending cycle. So what we do at the radio stations, I tell people, because I deal with social media all the time, you want to break it down into 3 groups for your social media. One group is going to be talking about you. That's it. Special events you've got coming on, special things that you've got coming on. Second group should be talking about your community. High school basketball or football or church service or something like that. That also will help you build your likes and get shared and everything else. Third thing would be off the wall. Something that has nothing to do with community, something that has nothing to do with your business. My favorite example of this is before Breon sold, one of the things I told them was, so let's do a trivia question every week. Just to have fun with it. And so you can Google weird state laws. In 1938, it was against the law to go into a restaurant and not have cheese on your plate when you ate. What state was that? Wisconsin, obviously. For an entire year, every time you went into a restaurant, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you had to have cheese on every plate. That was a state law. And it gets all kinds of same kind of reaction you got, except now it's, everybody was looking at it.
So you're saying on a single Facebook page for your museum, you do those 3 kinds of posts?
You break it down, and you literally do. You break it down into 3 categories.
Yeah, but
What
it's the same.
Same webpage,
Yeah, okay.
but things that you're posting on your webpage. And again, this is not going to cost you money. This is just going to cost you time. So
On your webpage or on your social media?
social media. And this will work on any of the social medias that are around. Okay? So when you're sitting down looking at this, you should be looking at, I need to do a third of this about everything that's going on in my post. A third of it about my community. Whether it's high school sports, whether it's whatever it is, just to show involvement. And the third thing, again, awful. To me, trivia questions are easy to do because you can Google them and you can find some of the weirdest trivia questions out there.
In this group here, some of us have Facebook pages that for our museum that allow anyone to post, like Amory, and ours do, and others are, you can't post, you can only comment. And I found that the ones where you let people put their own pictures in and make their own, because they're all keyed in on history anyway, that works better. You get a lot more activity because people will say, well, I found this old picture, and
Right.
put it on.
Until they hijack the site.
Well-
Our rendezvous one, we had so many people putting so much stuff on.
But you can also do it so you monitor what goes on. I guess it depends on how many people are trying to do that, but you can say nothing goes on unless I approve it.
Right.
But I mean, they can post it, but you have to approve it. You've all seen those sites, I think.
Yeah, that would be very timely.
So there's plus and minuses to both ways. So at the radio station, we do allow you to post, but I have a person who watches my Facebook page 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, man. As soon as something goes on or somebody contacts my Facebook page, they're on their email to me or calling me to get what we should be saying to them. So it really just depends on you. You take the chance by leaving it open like that. It does drive more traffic, I will say.
There are, like for Barron, there are some Facebook pages that are not from your museum, but are open where people can post pictures and that, and those are really quite nice.
Yeah. And you can set it up to where you can, manage it, and before anything goes live, you have to approve it, but that does go live. So that's the other side of that too. The other thing I would tell you too, if you've got social media, so we've talked about how you post, we've talked about how you build likes, how you get to be shared. Are you setting events for every single thing you are doing? Facebook loves events. So if you can go into Facebook and actually build an event for whatever event you've got coming up and give it all the information, give it all the pictures you can give it, it will actually blow up for you.
We generally spend like 40 or 50 bucks advertising on an event with a certain radius around our area.
Right. And if you know how to do that, you can get it done very well. I would caution you, Google changes their algorithm, Facebook changes their algorithm, which is what drives everything, about every 30 days. And the only thing I do not like about social media is you do not own your site. You have to stress that. You do not own your Facebook page. So if somebody involved with you or somebody says something that breaks Facebook's guidelines, you can get locked up. So I will tell you, that's the only downside.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So that would be, I would be very, very careful. But when you're looking at that, I would be setting up events for every event you got. I don't care if it's a day long or a couple hours long. Facebook loves events. The other thing, when you're posting to your Facebook page, video that you take with your camera, Facebook loves that. They don't really like the produced kind of stuff. They like the raw, live kind of video that you can do. So if you've got an event going on, or you're panning kids that are just having a good time, and posting that, Facebook will help you explode that onto your feed. And more people will get likes, and more people will share, and everything else. Video is the #1 driver for social media, period. And again, you don't have to be a professional. Just your camera phone, and then post it up to Facebook.
Do you have to have people's permission? Posted?
Wisconsin, you do not. I don't know about anywhere else, but in Wisconsin, you do not. I know for Chance, we just did the giveaway for the Party in Paradise beginning of April, and we Facebook Lived it, which is another great thing to do. All you're doing is just setting a camera up, and you're streaming live what's going there. I ended up with about 5,000 people following the giveaway who had nothing to do with it. They were just watching the giveaway we did. Yes, ma'am.
So our Facebook page, they have to read us certain rules, okay? Can we make that Facebook page shareable? Or that would be private if we're having them, they have to join by.
Yes, so it's something you have to join. You would have to join the group. So I would, with something like that, the groups are great for people who just are involved with that. If you're trying to get outside of that group, in other words, people who don't know anything about you, have never seen you before, because that's the end goal of the market. I've got to get people in who don't know about it. I would not do a group.
Okay.
So any other questions about social media?
So what are the social media ones that you guys use?
So we use Facebook, obviously. So Facebook, the problem that we're seeing now is that Facebook used to be the end-all, be-all of all social media out there.
Yeah.
It unfortunately is starting to see a decline.
It's pretty good for our older museum clients.
It is very
Yeah.
good for that. Anybody 55 plus, you're going to do very well with Facebook. Instagram, we do X. That's again going into younger demographic, but younger demographics have young kids. We want to bring families to our events, so that's why we look at all those things. Any other questions on that? Wonderful. Local partnerships are also very, very important. So going with churches, going with schools, going with local businesses, offering them a chance to give away free tickets to events that you got, doing a partnership when they buy a ticket there, it goes to a donation. You know, those kind of partnerships are going to help you tremendously. I'm also on the Barron Chamber here in town, and so one of the things that we do every summer is called Music in the Park. Of course, every city in the world does Music in the Park, right? You get some guy from down the street, comes in, he plays for 60 to 90 minutes, and everybody gets together. Barron Chamber does it a little bit differently. We actually go through a talent agency and book talent from around the Midwest. So we spend somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000 a year for our Music in the Park people to come in. We had a great Elvis impersonator last year. It was just a lot of fun. We have Beatles guys. These guys are really, really good, talented people. But how do you pay for that $7,000 to $9,000 that you're paying for these artists? I took this from the radio station, so we do this at the radio station. So you got an event coming up. I then go out and sell sponsorships to that event. So basically, let's say I went to, and I'll give you a great example here, Swangraver Auto does the Barron Music in the Park that we do every year. For them, for $500, they will get titled sponsorships. So every time I run a radio commercial, Swangraver Auto presents Barron's Music in the Park. And that ran all summer long. And what it does, that $500 combined with a bunch of other different things that we were able to sell like that, was able to give us, about $2,000, $3,000 to actually spend in traditional advertising. The way that you can make this work is if you go out to a local business that is very interested in your community or your festival or whatever the event is, hey, every time we advertise, if you give me $500, I'm going to name you first before we do anything else. Does two things for the business. Number one, shows they're in the community and care about the community, so businesses love that, especially when we can stream it from the top of the advertising. Then we go in with 3 different packages for them, an aggressive, a moderate, and a conservative. The aggressive, you got mentioned every single time we said anything about our events or anything we want to promote with our museum. The second one is you got rotated at the very bottom with special thanks to, and we would rotate those names. On radio, it's easy to do because you can 3 or 4 different commercials and rotate through them. In newspaper, you would just have to all include it at the very bottom, hey, special thanks to us. We're able to raise somewhere around, I want to say $7,000 to help cover the Music in the Park parade. So that is a good way to help raise money to do traditional advertising for your museum, whatever event you want to push. And that is a good way to do it where you'll have this cash now. You can run newspaper, you can run radio, you can run any kind of traditional advertising. And it's it helps work out very well. I think that's about it. But again, major things that you can do. Social media, Google Business Profile. Yes, ma'am.
On this sheet that I got, I don't know if you have more than that, it does not tell me how to get a profile.
So Google assigns every entity out there a Google Business Profile. You just have to claim it.
And how do we do that?
So you would put in the name of your museum, whatever the entity is, and type in Google Business Profile. And it should come up in the searches.
Oh.
That's the easiest way.
Somebody else has claimed it.
So that's the fun part with Google. You have to go through a whole thing, and it's not really that big of a deal. You simply go in there and you test it with Google. And then Google goes through and they contact the person who had control of it before. That person doesn't get back to them, then 30 days later you have control.
So do you put in your website name? Is that what you put in?
No, like your case, the Blue Hills Genealogy Society, maybe?
Yeah,
Do you have a
but
website?
Do you put .org or not .org? They do.
Do you do have a website?
Yeah.
I would put in your website and then type in Google Business Profile.
Oh.
That's the easiest way to find it.
You know, when they first started doing that, they made me they sent me a letter and I had to verify it that way.
Yeah, good luck with the mail. It takes so long for anything. I mean, Mr. Doberfield.
Well, no, Mr. Bigner.
Yes, sir.
You had started out saying that the radio station in Rice Lake is really supportive of the museum.
Mm-hmm.
So some years back, I talked to Tom Kozer and said, we want to build a new building, can you help us? And Tom gave me all kinds of advertising spots. And then sold all the
This sounds
stations.
really familiar, but keep going.
And then he sold all the stations. So then Armada bought all those stations.
They
and
did.
Armada's chairman at the time was Tommy Thompson, the governor.
Yep.
So I talked to the governor and said, Governor, are you going to honor this deal that Tom made? He said, oh, of course, no problem. And then his kid apparently was the CEO. And I talked to his kid and said, hey, kid, are you going to honor this deal that Tom made, Now you're giving him all this money. Oh, no problem. We will gladly honor that. And my goodness, was I surprised at how much local radio penetrates.
Oh, yeah.
community. Just absolutely amazing, the number of people who tell me they've heard me on radio.
Well, you know, that's the thing about it. So as you go back to your communities and you look at who you are, try and figure out where your demographic is. So here's the great thing about where we live. I'm originally not from Wisconsin. I'm originally from New Orleans. I moved here in 1999. Tammy over here. So when I moved here, I had been in radio since 1986, and I had worked in large markets. So I worked in New Orleans, I worked in Houston, I worked in Beaumont, I worked in Panama City, all these big cities. My wife and I had been married a year, decided we wanted to have a family. So then we decided, you know what, let's move to a small town. My favorite joke to tell in the entire world. So back when we moved here, Rice Lake, and I don't know if a lot of you remember this, had a Taco Bell that was in a gas station.
I remember.
Yes. So the joke was when I came for the interview for the job to be program director was, okay, this is just, you know, this is some place that actually, you know, is not just a small town. Because I've been to places where McDonald's closed at 6 o'clock. And I went, I'm not moving here. This is society, or at least they're up with the tops because they have a Taco Bell. 30 days after I moved here, they closed the Taco Bell. So then I started to wonder if I was in the wrong place. But I tell you what, I've raised all 3 of my kids here. There's a reason that I am still here today, even though my kids are grown. My last one is a 17-year-old at Barron High School, and she's a junior this year. Oh, but when you look at small towns like this, we look at the age demographic. What is the average age of Barron County? Does anybody know that?
Pretty old.
It's actually not. It's 44.6.
44.
Yeah, 44.6 is the average age of Barron County. Now, when you look at Polk, it's even younger. And as you go further west, it does get younger. Not by a lot, but by a year or 2. Okay? But as you go east, so Rusk, they get older. You go north, they get older. So one of the great things about radio advertising, now's my time to toot my own horn here, is the largest demographic that still listens to radio advertising is 35 years and older. What's the predominant age here? 35 years and older. We're in a small market, we have no television, newspaper comes out once a week. How do you get your information? Radio station, which is why we have an award-winning news department, which is why we invest so much with our news department. We have our own website that does news, which, by the way, I didn't know if I told you, we got nominated for our news site, northwestnow.net, as the best small market news website in Wisconsin. So that was a big deal for us.
So my dad always listened to the Rice Lake station for the obituaries.
So, and it's a funny story, coming from large markets like I did, I'd never been to a radio station where you actually did obituaries every single day. And I got in as a program director, and I remember the first time I got there was going, why are we talking about dead people? You know, this is supposed to be fun, this is supposed to be exciting, we're talking about dead people. So we missed one obituary. I got more phone calls than I've ever gotten in my entire life. So now we run obituaries 4 or 5 times a day on WJMC AM and FM. Yes, ma'am.
So when I send out an article, a news article on what's happening with our genealogy society, and I send it to the newspapers, I also send it to the radio station. I've never checked to see if they actually like that.
So here's a little secret that most radio stations and television stations will not tell you. Our license says we serve the public, which means we are required to run public service announcements, and we have to keep track of that and turn it in just in case the FCC ever comes in and tells you. You have to do that. So television stations, radio stations are required to do that. So if you send a public service announcement, you can send it to radio and television, and they will get it done. Now, they'll play it when they have time to play it. Doesn't guarantee when it will play it, but they have to play it. That is the FCC regulations, and you can be fined a lot for that. So.
Okay, let's hear it from Mike. Awesome, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Kept you longer than we planned, but I think you'll agree it was probably worth it. Probably
Yeah.
the best $20 ever spent. John just handed me these. If anybody wants to pick one up, it is about our Ojibwa project, the village I was talking about. And I'm gonna set them over here on the table, so if you want one on the way out, just grab it. And thank you guys for coming.
Well, thank you for hosting.